What have we got from the drinks trolley today, Suze? What have you selected for us?
Well, I've gone for a very tasty pale ale called Leap from Beak Brewery. It's sherbety, hoppy, delicious, and it's only 4.5%. So, as they say, very sessionable.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, they do.
I hadn't heard that. Okay, very good. Today's confession comes from someone who wants to be known as Litmus. It's not a proper name, but Litmus. Okay. Father Simon, Brother Matt, Sister Susie, and Sister Holly, I am writing to you not as the confessor, but instead the victim of the following confession. This story concerns my mother, Josephine, and her sin against me that still haunts me to this day. To set the scene, I was born in Chester to my parents, Josephine and Ernie, not their real names. While my dad came from a relatively small English family, my mum was the middle child of two Irish parents who had emigrated to Cheshire in the late 1960s. The eldest, let's call her Barbara, was troublesome in her youth, and that resulted in her eventually permanently moving back to Ireland. So if you fast forward to October 2007, I, says Litmus, am now 2.5 years old. Okay, 2.5.
Yes.
When Barbara's child, Matthew, was having his 21st birthday. My parents decided to brave the Irish Sea to visit for the occasion. To mark said occasion, my mum had decided to buy me new shoes. They were Caterpillar boots, and I loved them. Now, these boots had been £40, and rightly so, she didn't want to spoil them before going to Ireland. This meant I only tried them on once before she whisked them away, put them back in the shoebox, making sure to pack them up the way they'd been bought from the shop. Soon we're on our way to Ireland, our car packed to breaking point, full of presents for Matthew, several suitcases, and my new £40 Caterpillar shoes.
Oh, yes.
Eventually we landed in Ireland, driving a short distance from the harbour to our hotel. Barbara and her family lived in the lovely town of Bray in County Wicklow, and our hotel was located in this town near the sea. The day of the party arrived, but it wasn't to start till mid-afternoon. So to while away the time, my parents decided to head to the beach to take a stroll up and down the promenade. I knew that I was going to be wearing my new £40 Caterpillar boots later that day, but I couldn't wait. So I begged my parents to try them on now for the walk before the party. My dad wasn't too sure about this idea, saying in a voice surprisingly similar to Ray Winston,
Of course.
Yeah.
they cost 40 quid, you know. 40 pound. Despite his protest, my mum thought that it would be a good idea to wear them in. So we kitted up, hat, check, gloves, check, coat, check. All that was left to put on my new favourite Caterpillar boots, £40, you know. So my mum dutifully got them out of the shoebox, taking off the paper, wrapped around them and put them on my feet. Well, that's odd, my mum said. They don't fit now. This statement was confirmed by my face, which was starting to scrunch up with pain. My parents were shocked. How could these boots, which fitted perfectly in England, somehow not fit me in Ireland? My dad suggested that maybe the Irish have a different shoe system to England. My mum did not find this funny, and seemingly to take out her frustration, doubled her efforts to push my feet into the boots. I started to cry blue murder as the boots had clearly shrunk, or maybe my dad was right. Ireland really does affect all the shoes that come in from England. Eventually, with the help of my dad, the boots were wrestled onto my feet, leaving me with a feeling I've never, ever forgotten. This whole fiasco meant that our walk had to be cut short, and so my parents kept up a brisk walking speed, as brisk as he can with a 2-year-old in agony. Clearly, this was bothering my mum, who, not wanting to be late to the party, said, "Don't be so silly, there's nothing wrong with you, just walk. What's wrong with you? Just walk. 1 foot, 1 foot." I was convinced there was something going on. My mum was determined to get £40 worth of wear from these boots.
Good.
Eventually, my face streaked with tears, we headed back to the hotel to spruce up for the party. I must have been still crying a lot, so my mum took one of the boots off to inspect it. She had a quick glance inside, couldn't see anything, and then to make sure there wasn't anything at the bottom of the boot, she reached in. And lo and behold, there was something in there. With slow, deliberate movements, she pulled out something that looked remarkably like the squashed piece of paper. The kind of paper that is found in shoes to keep the shape of them before they're bought. The kind of paper that my mum, in her infinite wisdom, had replaced after she'd checked to make sure that they fitted when we were in England. Suffice to say, my mum was mortified, with echoes of the Chinese tradition of foot binding from another era.
Another era, yes.
Ever since then, I always made sure that my new shoes handed to me did not contain any paper in them whatsoever. As the victim of this act of cruelty, I thought it would be best to tell her tale to you, Father Simon, and the collective to seek forgiveness for my mother. I would like to add that my mum is a lovely, caring person, and that everyone, including myself, would trust her with absolutely everything, apart from shoes.
Yeah.
Yours, mercifully, Litmus. P.S. She kept that piece of paper long after the incident, as it had the perfect imprint of my toes on them. I mean, that's how hard that they were pressed against.
Yes.
The piece of paper had a permanent imprint of Litmus's toes. Well, a child in agony, and Sister Susie will be stern, I fear.
Well, yes, probably I should be stern, and I should probably say something like, you were the mother and you probably should have checked in the shoe for all of the paper, because, you know, at 2.5, they can't say, as much as they can say, ow, it hurts, they can't say, there's something still stuck in my shoe. However, I'm a mother, and I'm very... I feel for her, and I've definitely done the come on, put one foot in front of the other, just keep walking myself. So for that reason, I think I'm going to forgive.
Those boots cost £40. You're going to walk until I've had £40 worth of leather out of them. Thank you very much indeed, Brother Matthew.
40 quid seems like a lot to spend on a pair of shoes from whenever this was, many years ago.
2001.
2001? 40 quid?
On a 2.5-year-old
Children's
person.
shoes are expensive.
They clearly are. Made of real caterpillars, presumably. But I'm going to forgive, because, you know, I mean, she was fine in the end. A few tears, but we all learned a lesson, didn't we? We all learned to look for the paper inside the shoe if we can't fit our foot into the shoe.
It's a fairly basic thing to do.
It is a pretty basic thing, isn't it? But we've all learnt that, and we won't be doing that again. And we certainly won't be spending 40 quid on shoes.
Why didn't you check foot doesn't fit? Just put your hand in.
Put your hand in. Then we've all learnt that as well, haven't we? So well done, everyone. Going to forgive for the reasons that were outlined at some length.
The question is, do you forgive Litmus's mother? 61054. But just before the news, we had a confession from Litmus, a story about £40 caterpillar boots, which didn't fit because the parents had left in the packaging, but still forced Litmus's feet into the boot. It's cruel and horrible treatment. That's what it was. You can't blame the fact that the Irish have different rules, and that's what Litmus did. What did the people say?
Forgiven, says Jean in Chessington. She's a mum. She's busy keeping everyone in check. She was only trying her best with the posh caterpillar boots. Josh in Liverpool says, not forgiven. Wouldn't it have been logical to check what was in the shoe after Litmus put them on, instead of forcing her to wear them? That was just mean. But Claire in Bristol says, forgiven. Same thing happened to my newly walking toddler in Britain's leading children's shoe store 18 years ago. Poor Honor had very squished feet, and I'd watched them do that toe test.
Okay, well, thank you. Lots of good stories, and maybe you have a confession inspired by one of them. Confessions at greatesthitsradio.co.uk. I'm definitely in need of a drinks trolley of some creation. What have you got for us today, Suze? Quite thirsty, really.
Well, I've gone for a nice wine, Austrian skin contact wine, so slightly orange. It's a Pinot Blanc, and it's I really like the name, and I thought Matt would approve. It's called Weissenburgunder.
Weissenburgunder?
Why would Matt like that?
Just because it's fun.
Weissenburgunder, it's fun, isn't it? I like it.
It's a fun wine.
It's a fun
Almost
wine.
like burger, but not.
Oh, it's almost like a burger, isn't it?
Okay.
Burgunder.
He's easily pleased.
Yeah.
I'll have a half pint. Thank you very much indeed. Today's confession comes from Jane. Father Simon, Brother Matt, Sisters Holly and Susie, and the ever-forgiving Greatest Hits Radio congregation. I was listening to Drive Time the other day when a confession was read out concerning personal effects. And your invitation to send one in, anything relating to personal effects.
Yes,
you remember
yes,
that
yes,
confession?
yes.
The confessee had no idea what they actually were.
No.
Certainly didn't mean the photographs that they actually found.
No, they didn't.
Anyway, says Jane, my sinful act was indeed personal, and no doubt the effects were felt by more than just me. Back in 1997, I had secured a place at a local university to study for a BEd, a Bachelor of Education. I did go to Birmingham University to study medical biochemistry back in the 70s, but suffice to say it didn't work out, largely because it was completely beyond me. So I take my hat off to any biochemists in the land. And now, with 3 young children, aged 5, 7 and 9, I was looking to teach at primary level and needed a degree to do so. Not only would I be a mature student, but I would also be a rather dumpy, mature student. So I'd embarked, since being notified of the place, on a regime to lose said dumpiness, although I couldn't do much about the maturity. So to cut a long story short, I did indeed shed many, many pounds, and delighted with my achievement, set about a serious shopping trip to purchase new jeans, as the old ones, well, they didn't exactly hang off me, but new, smaller ones would do wonders for my self-esteem. Excellent. I forgot who I left the children with that day, but it was fine. And I was on my own. The kids were with someone, I can't remember who it was.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
But I was on my
not important.
own.
Yes. Okay.
Anyone who's had or has small children know how precious these times are. Serious shopping now has to be done in Oxford Street, in my case, in London. So off I went to Marks and Spencer's for new knickers, the sort with lace at the top, and also jeans. I'm just giving you the information that Jane gives me.
Goodness me.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. It's all relevant.
Is it?
Picking up a pair in a suitably smaller size, I made for the, fortunately, thank you God, the individual changing room, albeit with only a curtain and not a chunky lockable door. Having dispensed with my old fraying baggy jeans, I reached for the new ones. Most people will know, however, that M&S sizes are a good deal more generous than other makes, especially brand new stiff denim jeans. Whilst I could pull them up easily enough, doing the zip was a bit more of a challenge. Breathing in, I gave an almighty tug on the zip, but to my horror, it caught in the lacy bit at the top of the old knickers. You remember that I like a bit of lace that I was wearing that day. No amount of pulling up and pushing down and sideways yanking or any other kind of movement dislodged the wretched zip from my new jeans from the lacy bit at the top of my old knickers.
Okay.
I got hotter and hotter, as anyone who's had been in a similar sort of position will have experienced. I can hear Susie laughing. And began to wish I had a pair of scissors in my bag. Why did I not have scissors? Because why would you take scissors?
No.
There was nothing for it except to pull the jeans off with the knickers attached and to put on my old jeans. Safely clothed again, I tucked the irretrievably attached knickers inside the jeans and emerged from the changing room, probably looking slightly dishevelled despite my efforts not to. How are they for size? Wondered the assistant hovering outside.
Oh, no.
Fine, but they're a little pricey, so I'll just pop these back on the shelf for you.
Oh, no.
And before she could take them from me, I leapt over to the shelf, shoved them on top of the pile, and legged it out of the shop. Yes, it's true. I have to beg forgiveness, Father Simon, for the obvious trauma that finding my knickers attached to the jeans must have caused. Can I try these? Oh, are these free?
Oh, no. Oh. Good Lord.
Either to the shop assistant during a quiet period when they would be tidying and straightening all those on-the-shelf items, or indeed to the next customer who would have found rather more than they bargained for. Maybe it's just an extra bonus. Buy one, get something else free.
Someone else's knickers.
Someone else's pants for free. I did achieve my degree second time around and taught for just over 20 years at both primary and secondary maths level. Enough said. You may feel justice has already been done. With very best wishes for the amazing job you all do. From Jane, please do not read out my surname, as there are literally hundreds of students, now adults themselves, who will remember me. From Buckinghamshire. It says here. Okay. Okay. I mean, the thing is, it is what could she do? She couldn't. I think most people would have done the same, wouldn't they? Anyway,
no.
Suze, what do you say to Jane?
No, I am not leaving a pair of my worn underwear in a pair of jeans and putting them back on the shelf.
Well, what are you going to do? You can't.
No one would have done the same. Now, I do feel for Jane here, and there are a lot that I relate to. I relate to the fact that she was on her own and had some time away from the kids. That is wonderful. I also have that panic moment of when you get stuck in something in a changing room. For me, it was something over my head and I couldn't get it off, and there is a panic moment, and I do feel for that. However, these were a pair of knickers. You had worn, and I would say, as embarrassing as it was, you should have gone to the changing room woman and said, "Look, I'm in a situation. Can you get a pair of scissors?"
Well, a freebie is a freebie, isn't it? You know, if you get the jeans with a matching pair of knickers.
Not forgiving.
No, okay. Brother Matthew.
I mean, yes. Wow. I think I'm gonna find a way to forgive here. I really don't know how. I mean, leaving your pants in a shop. That's
attached to trousers.
Obviously attached to the trousers.
Maybe it's a new trend. It's like those sports shorts which
that's
come
what
with
I would be thinking. I'd be thinking, is this a new thing that I've missed out on? Look, I bought trousers and they came with someone else's pants. Goodness me!
And I can't zip them up.
No, and the zip doesn't work. So I mean, it was good fun and well done to Jane, and she went on to be a teacher, so that's okay. So for all of those reasons that didn't make any sense, I'm going to forgive.
61054. First word is Simon for the People's Verdict. So before we continue with our Tuesday, let's find out what happened to our confession. That came from Jane, a story of jeans, underwear, zips, and unfortunately leaving the underwear behind in the jeans because she couldn't separate the two. People's Verdict, here we go.
Forgiven, says Veronica in Chipstead. She got stuck and she was on her own. I'd have done exactly the same. Yes. You don't want to bother the judgmental shop assistant with your underwear. Elizabeth in Reykjavik says, not forgiven. A pair of women's knickers, that's just gross.
In Reykjavik?
In Reykjavik,
hello
yes.
to all our listeners in Iceland.
Indeed. Dave from Frinton, though, says, forgiven. In the 1980s, having left college, I was working in a shop selling jeans, and I did find a lady's G-string inside the leg of a pair of jeans. Provoked much laughter and brightened an otherwise ordinary day.
Maybe this sort of thing happens a lot.
Maybe.
And it's been underreported until now. Your story, please, would be welcome. Confessions at greatesthitsradio.co.uk. 5:47, Greatest Hits Radio. Good evening. Drive time through till 7 o'clock, and then it's Jackie Brown. It's confession time. Don't forget, there's a brand new podcast which is with you every Friday.
It is, isn't it?
And you have to sign up wherever you get your podcast.
Yeah,
that's where you can get the Confessions podcast. Also, we deliver drinks, courtesy of the drinks trolley. What have you taken today, Suze?
Well, I've gone for something non-alcoholic today. It is a kombucha, blueberry and ginger by Hip Hop, and it's very tasty.
I like a little bit of a kombucha. That's a very good thing. Bit of fermented ointment inside you.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah, great description.
Thank you. Today's confession comes from Rachel. Real name.
Ooh,
so that
really?
She says, go ahead and use my real name. So okay.
Right.
I think it's okay. Father Simon, Sister Susie, and the Confessional Collective, I have been thinking of confessing for some time. As every time I listen to the feature, this incident and the uncomfortable feeling of guilt crawls into my consciousness. This incident happened some years ago. Within the last 10, I can't honestly remember precisely, but I do remember, for reasons that will become obvious, that it was sunny and fairly warm. The scene of my crime, Waitrose in Ashford in Kent. I was pleased to find the car park fairly empty and swung into a spot almost opposite the main door. The car facing me, parked in a disabled bay, was, to the best of my recollection, a white estate car. An old lady was sitting in the passenger seat with a man of about 50-ish, her son possibly, got out of the driver's side and went into the store just ahead of me. I got a small trolley because I generally use the store for just certain bits and bobs, not a full shop, and I headed inside. My visit was a fairly unremarkable one, and had the subsequent incident not happened, would have been quickly forgotten. This was back in the days, the good old days, when Waitrose loyalty card holders were able to get a free hot drink, and not being able to resist a freebie, once I had paid for my shopping, I headed for the coffee machine.
Oh, yes.
My beverage of choice, a latte, which I wouldn't have chosen had it been a really hot day. But anyway, the latte is what I loved. With my free booty, it's a coffee.
Yeah.
I headed to the exit, cursing Waitrose for not adding a drinks holder to their trolleys, trying to steer the already temperamental trolley and hold the cup, which was quite tricky, but I was managing it by using my abdomen to keep said trolley on track for the car.
Yeah.
Right.
Coffee, abdomen, trolley.
This all sounds fine.
It's great, yeah.
As I emerged into the sunshine, I smiled as I saw the old lady in the passenger seat of the white estate car. She had wound the window all the way down and was fast asleep, her head resting on the seatbelt pillar. She looked so peaceful and content. Not having far to go, I persevered, steering the trolley with my right hand and abdomen whilst holding the latte in my left. I was about mid-distance between the two cars when it happened. A sudden gust of wind blew the lid off my cup.
Oh, no.
Squealing, partly in surprise and partly in indignation, I snapped my head round to see where the lid had gone, because I hate littering, obviously. And that's when I realised the terrible consequences of this gust of wind. Not content with the lid, it had also blown off the generous layer of creamy coffee foam from my coffee. But in a cruel twist of fate, the foam had splattered right across the side of the white estate car. Pebble dashing it like a flock of seagulls had passed overhead. You know what I'm saying. Now you will recall me mentioning the peaceful old lady asleep in the front seat with the window wound down. Well, I'm afraid to say she had not been spared. She too was pebble dashed with a mixture of white and brown foam. A large dollop hit her on the forehead and was now slowly dribbling down the side of her nose. Also, the coffee lid was now perched on her head like a very small hat.
Goodness me, it's all happening.
I froze momentarily. I'd seen her son, or whoever it was, queuing at the checkout, and he would surely appear very soon and see his elderly mother covered in the muck from my free beverage. Well, I should have waited. I should have gone over. I should have retrieved the plastic lid from her head. But I didn't. I grabbed the bag from the trolley in my free hand, shoved the trolley the best I could using just my abdomen, both my hands now being occupied, into the adjacent empty parking bay, got in the car and hot-footed it out of the car park. Father Simon, Sister Susie, and the collective, I seek forgiveness first from the old lady who was pebble-dashed by my latte, courtesy of the wind, and secondly, her son, who must have been totally bemused at the sight which met him when he left the store. What had happened to his mother? How had this occurred? I'm also not proud of abandoning my trolley in an empty bay, nor littering, having failed to retrieve the plastic lid from her head. Yours penitently, Rachel, now living in Cornwall, so she's perfectly fine.
Run away, yeah.
Yes, I think she has run away because you know you don't want to be sought out by the Waitrose.
No, you don't. You know what they're like.
Yeah. Anyway, and that 50-year-old son was probably going to be, or she was going to be steaming.
Yeah.
Anyway, a very nice incident. I like this one very much. Susie, what do you say?
I'm a bit concerned that the woman didn't wake up. Like, I feel like if I'd have had foam...
Oh, she was dead, do you think? Are you saying it killed her?
Oh my goodness!
I don't know if she's dead or not. But like, surely, if you had something thrown in your face, you would wake up. But either way, if she didn't wake up, then it couldn't have been that bad. So I kind of want to forgive Rachel because it was very, very funny. But she should maybe pay more attention. Could you put your shopping in your car first and then go back and get your coffee so you had two hands?
Rachel, I really don't think you should have used your real name now. And now we're not sure whether the old lady is alive or not.
Maybe killed her.
Father Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, well, whose fault was it? It wasn't Rachel's. It was the person who put the lid on the coffee cup.
Well, she did.
No, it was the
self-service.
Yeah, it was the person in Waitrose. Person in Waitrose, surely.
She did it.
It was a
self-serve.
the person in Waitrose should have been looking and said, "You've not put the lid on properly." So their fault.
It was
absolutely.
Rachel.
Well, we've established that anyway. And also, as Sue says, maybe this person was dead. I don't think they were. I think she's lived to fight another day. It's a bit of foam, that's all it is. So that's fine. Good work, Rachel's abdomen, doing a lot of work there.
Yeah,
clearly pretty toned there. A bit like me. So for all those reasons, I'm going to forgive.
Well, because Rachel's got toned muscles
abdomen,
like you.
Like me.
Excellent.
Good work, Rachel.
Okay, well, let's assume that the old lady did survive.
Yes.
People's verdict, please. 61054. We had a confession just before the news from Rachel. And it was the story of her killer latte, which took out an old lady in a Waitrose car park while she was just sitting there in the car. What did we get from the people's verdict?
Forgiven, says Faye. I find supermarkets stressful at the best of times, and this sounds like a nightmare. Poor lady. I think I'd have done the same. I was rushed out of that car park. Nick says definitely forgiven, and the confession being aired on National Latte Day too.
Is that right?
Very apt. Love the show. And Danny in Romford says forgiven, and we could call it Latte Will and Testament.
Could we?
Latte, Will and Testament?
No, it doesn't work for me.
It works for me.
Okay. Your confessions, please. confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk. The drinks trolley wasn't working for a while, but now it is. There it is. It's trolling past. And what do we have? have you chosen for us today, Suze?
I have chosen, and I've gone with this one because it's got a great name, but it's also rather tasty. Elbow Geese.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right.
It's from Indie Rabble. It's a West Coast IPA. It's 6.4%. Matt will be pleased to know that it's heavily Amarillo hopped.
Amarillo.
And it hides its strength rather well. So even though it's 6.4%.
Yeah, I think just
tasty.
one is
Just what? Thanks.
6.4.
Yeah.
Today's confession comes from Cliff. Thanks, Cliff. Brother Matthew, Sister Susie, Holly, and the Right Honourable Father Simon. There are several people partially responsible for my confession today, including you, Father Simon. But I think the person who is ultimately the most responsible, although he probably isn't aware of it, is Billy Joel.
Oh, right.
What?
We tried to get Billy involved in the collective, but busy. 16 years ago, my wife and I were blessed to have our first child. Upon her wonderful arrival, we were tasked with giving her a suitably wonderful name. My wife and I both love the many great songs of Mr. Joel, and after watching a documentary on the piano genius, we discovered that the daughter that he shares with his ex-wife, Christy Brinkley, has been named Alexa.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
At the time of our first daughter's birth, this name seemed like an original and unusual name, and so we chose it to use for our beloved first child. Little did we know 16 years later it would be the female name most commonly spoken every day in homes throughout our great nation and many others. My confession today only happened on Monday. This is a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, right.
The big company that shares its name with a long river in Brazil delivered me a package. I mean, that really doesn't narrow it down very much, does it?
Wow.
Nothing unusual there. We have a Prime account with them with easy order settings in place and regularly use it to place orders and have things delivered. What was unusual about this package, though, was that it was a CD. A compact disc for Holly, if she's wondering. And this compact disc was the greatest hits of the boy band Blue. Now, I quite liked a few of their songs, as probably most people do, but I wouldn't call myself a huge fan, and I definitely did not order their best of CD. On opening up the package, I assumed it was some kind of mistake had occurred, and that I'd been sent someone else's order in error. I looked up a phone number and called the company to inform them of the mistake and to arrange for them to return it back. On speaking with them, though, my mysterious CD proved even more mysterious. I was informed that the order was not a mistake. It had been ordered from my address and ordered by me. Now, I knew fully well that I hadn't ordered it. I informed the polite man on the end of the phone of this and said that I would like to return it later this coming week. The customer operative was very polite, arranged the return and wished me a good day. Still slightly baffled by my mysterious order, and I hadn't been drinking, I investigated it a little further. It's an exciting life around our way, as you can imagine. I looked online and found that I had placed my order on Monday, the 19th of January at 4:55 p.m. I sat and I had a little think, and then gradually things began to fall into place. See, at the time of my order, I'd been in the kitchen with my wife making dinner. She was doing most of the making. I was offering a little assistance by chopping up some carrots. Anyway, we were having a nice chat. We also had Your Good Selves playing alongside us in the background. It was apparently the most pressing day of the year, but you were changing Blue Monday into Blues Monday, which is why we love Greatest Hits Radio so much. Yes. With some choice bluesy songs played throughout the show to cheer everyone up. The time of my order, or rather minutes just before, you had played the brilliant New Order track, True Faith.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd been discussing this song's brilliance with my daughter, who at 16 has very much discovered an appreciation of music recently. I remember that song, and the fact that it was Blues Monday had led me to discussing the even more amazing New Order song, Blue Monday. Thinking how apt that song would have been as well, I also remembered stating that I thought Blue Monday was probably their greatest hit, and that I proudly had it next door in my CD collection. In a Columbo meets Murder, She Wrote kind of way, it became obvious what had happened that evening. My musical discussion with my daughter had inadvertently glitched the whole system. And by system, I mean where the smart speaker world meets the Brazilian River shopping world.
Yeah.
Our ever-attentive smart speaker had been listening to our chat and put 2 and 2 and 2 together. I can't remember specifically what we had said, but it somehow heard me saying my words and rearranged them to form something that it recognized. It must have been, Alexa, place a new order for Blue on Monday. It is one of their greatest hits. And can I have it on CD? And so my mysterious online shopping order, you have to be very careful what you say in front of the smart speaker.
Yeah.
My mysterious online shopping order was explained. I would like to ask forgiveness for ordering and now returning the CD and ultimately wasting the Brazilian River people's time and energy. Please don't let any of this dissuade you from sending me another smart speaker, of course. I'm sure we can fit one into another room in the house. We'll just have to be extra careful not to mention our daughter's name and one of Manchester's very finest bands in the same sentence ever again. As I stated earlier, I think this is ultimately Billy Joel's fault for influencing my beautiful daughter's choice of name and creating potential mayhem wherever she goes. I mean, I suspect that there are quite a few, nice fade, people named Alexa who have this quite a lot.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you ask Alexa to lay the table or something like that, the speaker will go crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Susie, what do you say to Cliff?
Well, Cliff, you know, I hear what you're saying, and that's a very difficult situation. I feel like blaming Billy Joel is a bit much, isn't it? And I just feel like maybe, you know, you bought these speakers. You didn't have to introduce them to your house. You could have gone down another route and had a different smart speaker that didn't have your daughter's name as the activated voice. So
point.
I feel like you're asking for it, but for your Bluetooth betrayal, I'm not going to forgive.
Oh my goodness.
We're all getting into it now.
That's terrible.
Oh, yes.
Brother Matthew.
Yes, I'm going to forgive. Aren't you able to change? Can you change the name? I don't have one of these smart speakers, but can you change the name if you've got somebody in your family called the same as the Siri?
But imagine if you've got a boy called Siri and a girl called Alexa.
What a nightmare!
Yeah.
But you know, that combination of all of those things, the Blue Monday, New Order, Greatest Hits, love it. Yes, no, I'm definitely going to forgive because in a way, you know, Cliff didn't start the fire, did he? Billy Joel, of course, did. So no, he didn't. That was the point of the song. Yeah. But for all of those reasons, because he didn't start the fire, I'm going to forgive.
61054 for the verdict. First word is Simon. But before we go any further, we had a confession just before the news from Cliff, who thought he was talking to his daughter, Alexa, and thought he was praising New Order anyway, for various reasons, and the fact that the speaker was obviously doing its own version of, I think I know what you're saying to me, ordered him the greatest hits of Blue, or something like that. Anyway, the verdict is in. Here we go.
So Pete says not forgiven. You can change the name and turn off voice purchasing if you want to. Lol. Andy B from Braintree says forgiven. Billy Joel is surely an innocent man in all of this. Okay. No doubt Alexa, the daughter, will become an uptown girl in due course.
Already.
Very good. And Amanda says, I don't know whether to forgive or not, as I missed most of this, as every time you mentioned Alexa, mine chirped up and talked over you. Let's just agree with Matt, as he always has a sensible reason.
Yes, I think looking at your reactions, there are quite a few people who have lost everything because they were listening to the show, and then I mentioned
that thing.
Alexa. And everything went absolutely crazy. Anyway, but if you follow the instructions, you can change it all and it can be a different name and all that kind of stuff. Or you just switch it off at the wall or go to the shops. Your confession is very welcome, please, to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk.